morning, everyone, and happy Friday. And for those celebrating, happy Lunar New Year. Going on week celebration for Chinese New Year.
So the Steam sale informs me.
Yes, the Steam sale. Very important.
Thank God for Steam. Where would we get our news otherwise?
That's how we learn culture.
Culture. Thank you, Steve. But yes, if you guys don't know, this is TableTakes with Gen Con, hosted by Chaldea Studios. I am here with Emma, Derek, and Christian.
Howdy.
And guess what's happening really quick that's launching today, and I think our Magic X can tell us.
Theros Beyond Death is launching. It snuck up on me a little bit because I've been playing so much Arena and it's just out now and normally playable. I almost forget that it is releasing in paper today, so if you want to get all of your packs, booster boxes, what have you, then you can pick those up in stores today. And it's live on Standard too, so the set is now officially playable in Standard. Whether you're playing in Arena or playing in paper, you can do that now. So
is it in Modern?
Is it in Modern?
Is it in Pioneer?
Yes, yes. Those happen at the same time. I mean, most of the cards probably aren't going to be played in those formats, but listening to a podcast today, there are some that are potentially making their way into those formats as well.
Sweet.
Oh, cool, cool. And other cool announcements that just launched today and during this week. Derek, you're a big fan of Gloom and Doom.
I am. You did a little theme song for us. Can you do it again?
With the TableTakes.
No, it was the
I like that one.
There was a song about gloom and doom and blood that I really liked.
Well, now I'm just thinking Gloom and Doom and things go boom.
Sure, okay, we'll take that one
And
too.
Derek's announcements.
So, there's a whole lot of news for Games Workshop lately. First, we were just going to talk about how you can buy a cathedral tank now. And a lot of the Sisters of Battle, because there was they had a special set that came out last year that was
Those are the nuns with guns?
Yep.
Nuns with guns?
And probably also ninjas.
It's more flamers than guns.
Yeah.
But
still.
flamers.
A lot of fire.
Yep. So you got to purge the heretics with fire, basically.
Yeah.
But you shoot the fire.
Yeah.
Out of the fire gun.
Yeah, but not out of bullets. Anyway, there was a special set that came out at the end of last year that was really sold out in 23 minutes or something like that. But now most of their army units are now, I think, generally available. They might still be up for pre-order this week. But they're going to be out very shortly. You can go buy your cathedral tank with its stained glass windows on the side of an armored
and the organ.
vehicle. Yep.
It's stained armored glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Like stained glass steel or something like that. Sure. Great.
Fancy.
It's the future. You can do whatever you want.
One of the other ridiculous.
Except be happy.
Correct.
That's true.
I know how Warhammer works.
This is too real.
Happiness is the route to Slanesh, which is the route to corruption by chaos. It's
but
very clear.
Slanesh is so seductive.
See, somebody who's along the path. But the other kind of really awesome unit, I think, is the one where they're carrying the body of a martyr, because a lot of these battle nun orders are dedicated to one or another saints or martyrs or something like that. So you can have one just carried along your battlefield, rallying your army to a great cause as you scatter rose petals while you're flaming everyone to death.
The actual corpse.
Stop shooting for the funeral procession, because then,
I feel like
it's impolite to have a war during a funeral.
So call me crazy, but this feels like, yes, true. Legally, no, I have papers to prove. But also...
Did you just Sheldon us?
What?
You just Sheldoned us.
No. Well,
I feel Sheldon shocked.
Oh. But yes, no, this could be somebody's theme wedding now. You can have, this is if you ever wanted a Battle Sisters Warhammer.
Ooh,
so,
Battle Sisters Warhammer wedding.
I have already had 3 weddings.
Are the
but
nuns
I feel
allowed
like
to
I
get
need
married?
A 4th. There was a period of time when they could be married to the Emperor.
Yes, to the Emperor.
Oh. Wait, how
But
many
that time has
weddings
passed.
can you have?
So first you have the wedding to get your wife in the country to start immigration process.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Then you have the wedding at Gen Con because a bunch of your friends are at Gen Con.
Yeah.
And then you have the wedding in Leavenworth because you wanted to have a wedding for your family who thought Gen Con was too weird to come to.
Okay.
What? Oh.
I gotta get in on this wedding train, retro wedding.
Well, so not only that, but it now means that my wife's birthday is an anniversary. Friday of Gen Con is an anniversary. My mother's birthday is an anniversary. And every Friday the 13th is an anniversary.
That's a
Or
lot.
so my wife has informed me.
Okay.
You are super
Man, she
married.
has got her gift racket down. That is sweet.
playing to win.
You got played so hard. That's amazing.
But did I? I got a pretty great one.
Who's playing who?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
This is true.
I agree.
But you only got one, and you had 4 weddings. So,
3.
Okay.
What we're saying is now we clearly need to have
You need
a
to
fourth.
have a fourth.
Right.
Yeah, now
But you've
with
got
the
it
tank.
down now. Like this,
Yep.
this is your wedding, Derek.
This is
is
your
the
wedding.
for you.
Vampire wedding.
Space vampire wedding.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
to get back to the topic,
Yeah.
battle nuns and the funeral processions
How did we get off the
thereof
topic of battle nuns?
was going to be the key piece of news we were going to talk about. But then the LVO, the Las Vegas Open,
It's a golf tournament?
yeah, it's a huge Warhammer golf tournament.
Crossover.
Everybody gets holes in one because the holes are huge craters
No, I was
and
gonna
nobody can be
The
happy.
challenge is trying to get your correct posture when you're in that power armor. So the Las Vegas Open was, or is like the biggest kind of Warhammer tournament, I think in the country or the continent. And they did a big reveal of a whole bunch of new models, so now there's a whole bunch of new news, which I think we're just going to head off with what I think is the coolest thing, which is cyborg, horse, dog, man things with flamethrowers for heads.
It's
Yes.
so cool.
Where the horse dogs themselves have the
Yes,
flamethrower.
I really need to emphasize that, like, if you ever wanted to play a cowboy riding a flamethrower-headed cyber horse, you now can.
Also, rifts.
Yeah,
that's true.
Oh, checked it.
Checked it. It's off the box.
Also,
Drink.
there are cyborgs in kites with flamethrowers.
They fly.
Are they
kind of.
Kiteborgs.
skyborgs?
Yes.
Skyborgs.
Skyborgs.
Yep.
Skyborgs.
Shipped.
Love it.
Yep. So that's the
I'm
big,
shipping them with the
that's
battle
big
nuns,
news
by the
for
way.
Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
But all their lines basically got something. So Age of Sigmar got a whole bunch of new elves that look extraordinarily elfin. They have headpieces with frilly frond things.
No
A
skulls?
elves as opposed
really.
to E elves.
Yeah, elves.
I feel like they did this release because the headline is from elves to zotes. They released it specifically so they could.
if
make
that's
that.
the case.
Good job, puns.
So anyway, the elves are there, but I
Elves.
guess their god, like, there's a bunch of troops that are out now for them. Their god has come back, so you can get one thing where they're like the god is floating and there's a huge.
Doesn't that mean they win?
No, there's a lot of gods that came
Oh,
back.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations. Sphinx, that's the word.
Ah,
You
Sphinx.
get like a pseudo Sphinx elf flying guy thing.
Oh, yeah.
You should look at the pictures on the site because
It's very pretty.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff.
As a small note, Warhammer Underworlds gets a new war band that I'm excited about because it's a Nurgle war band,
Ooh,
and
I
one
like
of them
Nurgles.
You like
is a
Nurgles.
girl.
Girl?
A
Gurgle.
A girl. Oh.
But like
That's
I
where
think
we
her
are.
name is like
Light-sided,
Flyleaf
punny.
Buzz Gurgle or something like that. The
Okay.
usual ridiculous Gurgle names, but she's very much like an old hag of the swamp.
Nice.
Nice.
And then, for anybody out there who is a really old, hardcore Warhammer fan, there is now a plastic model for a Zote, which nobody who is new knows about, but apparently before the Tyranids arrived way back when, the Zotes were like some sort of herald race that was like, hey, the Tyranids are coming. And everyone was like, what? And then the Tyranids came and the Zotes disappeared. So
They
now,
ate 'em.
Now they're that was what everybody thought. Now they're releasing at least one model for Blackstone Fortress.
And maybe even more. Then you can have honey bunches of zotes. What if you can do what I can do it?
Sure. I didn't say you couldn't.
We need to do a pun count, please.
And then finally, the thing that Bonsai was most excited for was a hidden reveal that has not come out yet.
It's a box with something on it.
Yep.
It's
Mystery
a question.
box.
Yep.
It's a
Apparently, there's something more coming out for Horus Heresy and for Forge World stuff, but they have not revealed the details for that yet.
All right. Awesome.
Very nice.
More details that are coming out. Christian, you are a movie expert. What is the movie news that you have been hearing?
Okay. Well, for months they've been talking about the possibility of a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
A second.
No,
Dungeons
no, there
and
wasn't.
Dragons
They
movie.
never made one before.
Wait, isn't this like the 5th?
There has never been a
Edition?
Dungeons and Dragons movie. I'm going on record. For the love of the game, there has never been a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's like the Avatar live action. everything.
Important
Exactly.
question. How about
Did-
this?
doesn't
How about this?
exist.
I'm not going to say that it did exist, but were a Dungeons and Dragons movie to have been released, would it be better than the Warcraft movie?
Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
There you
Yes.
There you go.
No, it was an unwatchable
that-
piece of crap.
That should give
you.
you some.
If it would have been
some
made,
sense.
which it was not.
Yeah.
The
Okay,
original,
okay.
yeah. I mean, if you
feel
want to watch the Dungeons
validated.
and Dragons movies, watch The Gamers.
Mm-hmm.
Plug. Okay. But news has been spreading for months that there is, in fact, a Dungeons and Dragons movie being made by a major studio, and now that has been confirmed. Turns out that the people they thought were going to make this movie are going to make this movie.
Oh, wow. That's a very
surprise.
surprise.
No, it's not.
Surprise.
Often the people aren't the people.
So Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly were working on the script for this movie, and are working on the script for this movie. It might even be done at this point. Goldstein's been attached to the movie since last July, which is when the rumors started going around, but has neither been confirmed nor denied up until the new year when he posted 2 D20s saying 2020 on his Twitter. It's like, oh, it's happening, it's
that's pretty
happening.
clever.
That
That's
is very
clever.
clever.
I like
It,
that.
yeah, it wasn't the only person to do it. Pretty much every gamer did that picture, as it turns out. I've been on Twitter. There is a lot
What?
of them. So it is happening. These guys are famous because they have written other movies.
Excellent.
Movies that you
Good
may have
precedent.
seen or even like. Did you ever see Spider-Man Homecoming?
That was a very
Yes.
good movie.
They made it. Horrible Bosses.
Didn't see that one.
Now you can watch it on Comedy Central pretty much every Saturday afternoon because it
Okay.
shows up. They made that too.
Heavy rotation.
Yeah.
Heavy rotation. It's like this and then Happy Gilmore and then Little Nicky. It's coming on. Then The Office for 19 hours.
So they were working on a script, or maybe wrote a script, which means the movie is absolutely 100% for sure going to happen, right?
I don't think
Emma?
I don't think that they would have tweeted about it at this point.
If they weren't.
It's happening.
Hold on. I feel like I need to give you a piece of life advice.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, no, this is good.
Life advice?
Life advice. A movie does not exist, and you should not be excited about it until you see a trailer, not a teaser.
Okay.
A trailer. Then
Right.
you are permitted to be excited.
Okay.
Until then, any excitement that you generate will only lead to frustration on your own behalf.
and
You
we're not-
are the one who ties yourself to that burning wheel of karma.
Right.
Yeah, nobody was allowed to be excited about New Mutants until like 2 weeks ago. Even though that movie got made like 3 years ago.
Oh.
And also, it makes it, if I get excited now, it makes it less likely that the movie is actually going to happen. Because my excitement and desire for this movie to happen, conversely.
If you want to fall down that solipsistic well,
Anyway,
you are
the
welcome to do
rumors
so.
the rumors that a Dungeons and Dragons movie are being made
true.
have been confirmed by the people supposedly making it. There you go.
right.
It's just
Confirmation.
hearsay, and we reported it to you.
Yes.
and that's news.
And that is news, and more news based off of course, the Lunar New Year and magic. Emma?
Magic the Gathering, specifically.
Yeah.
P.S. None of that was
Lots of-
actual sign language.
Different.
No, I was
Yeah, so we have more Secret Lair news. So if you missed the episode and the hoopla around Secret Lair specifically, this is a very interesting physical paper Magic the Gathering product because it's the closest, I believe, at least in recent times, that Wizards of the Coast has come to releasing individual cards direct to consumer. So it's not single cards, but in the Secret Lair sets that came before, they did a release last year where every day they released a new pack of Secret Lair cards. They had goblins, they had cats, they had all sorts of other like very cool,
Very interesting theming
alternate
of
Yeah,
art.
theme.
Yeah, so these are all cards that have been released in the past, but with amazing art. Not me, but my husband specifically, oopsed on the Monday.
Oopsed?
Oops.
Oops as in oops and bought them all?
Yes.
Or, okay,
Yeah.
I was going to be like,
Well, not oops and bought them. It's like you get the message and it's just oops, and you know instantly that, okay, you got one of each, which is great because we made a cat commander deck, we made the goblins commander deck out of those. Really cool art, and now we're getting You're the Rat, so of course we have a bunch of rats.
And these are all cards that have existed before, you said?
Yes. All cards
They're
that
just
exist.
theming them towards the Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this world does not have China, correct?
but we as players do.
No, I understand that.
Yeah. That,
I realize that China
Yeah, so
exists.
but I think like by
Yeah,
theming,
it
I think
does.
they
I'm
just
so
it's just
sorry
the-
to
It's
tell
real.
it.
I think
real.
I think it's the cards they picked and the artists that they picked to do them.
Okay.
So it's just, you know, like like obviously there's a lot of Magic art that has references. I don't think there's any.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no like
Tons.
There's no
I just
story
didn't know
thing
if China
in the world. I don't think.
lived in Magic Land or not, and it doesn't.
No.
Well, there's no Earth in Magic Land.
Right.
or
So China
any-
would be right out.
Right.
Now, this is just themed
Yeah,
wise.
the art
But is there no Earth? There's multiple planes. We just haven't found it yet.
Right, that's fair. I mean, they have very Earth-esque things in there, so... this is an exciting release specifically for, again, Commander. If you want to make a Rat Commander deck, Rat is a very strong tribal, so you can get these cards, really cool art, very cool effects. I've been thinking about making a Rat Commander deck myself, so might have to go ahead and pick this up. It's going to be available on January 27th, 2020 for 24 hours. So put that in your calendar.
Right around the corner here.
Yeah,
You gotta go fast.
You got a couple days and you have to basically sit there and wait for the button.
Yes, and you will not be able to purchase it, presumably, after that. So make sure that you are on that. It's going to be selling to consumers for $39.99, and there's going to be Arena Code Rat-themed sleeves. They've been throwing in some Arena goodies for the Secret Lair as well, which is kind of cool, except for in some countries. So if you want the sleeves, check and make sure that you will get them.
Yes.
And if you want the cards later, you can get them for thousands of dollars.
Yes,
Oh,
literally thousands. It's an investment. Think of it as an investment.
Don't think of it as an investment.
Even if you're not going to use
It's a
those
game.
cards.
Is this what you're doing? Is this how you got through the oops?
It's an
thinking about it
investment.
As an investment?
An investment.
I
That's
think,
gotta
I think
be
that
how you
holds
do it.
up to scrutiny about as well as my, well, I have to back these Kickstarters so I'm informed about the game so I can do my job better,
Right?
right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That seems real.
That seems like a
I
very
feel like I'm in a
reasonable-
support
I-
group
I think
that
we-
is dysfunctional.
I think that we all buy crap for no reason.
Yeah.
Because we love games.
But it's for our job.
Yeah,
This
it's
is our
for our
job.
It is.
I
I
need
tell
these
myself
board
that every
games.
time I buy something.
I also need these dice and dice holders.
Yes.
I do too.
So
Yes.
I do. The other interesting thing is the art director for the Year of the Rat stuff had some very interesting interviews and articles about the process that they went through working with the artists too. So if people are interested to see how they reimagine some of these things, I think the Wizards site has those articles up too.
Yeah, I really appreciate when Wizards of the Coast does delve into the history and the process a little bit. They always have really cool articles and blogs of those. So you should definitely check that out if you want to learn more about the background of these Year of the Rat Secret Lair cards.
Awesome.
It's very cool.
It is very cool. I think there's also even more cool news coming out. I don't know. I think, have you guys ever heard of this company called Modifius?
Yeah, they put
I've
out
heard
a lot of
they've done
games.
stuff.
They did. Christian, well, it seemed like you, most expert on Modifius. Do you have anything to say
Well,
about
I
it?
would not say I'm the most expert on Modifius. That's Derek.
Oh, Derek is.
Yeah,
What's up?
they do some vampire stuff, and so I'm just completely
I've heard of that.
outclassed in everything.
But if
Modifius.
it's not vampire,
But if it's not vampire, you want
I
to,
have
but
no
you
idea.
but you still want to stay dark. They are putting out a Dishonored RPG, which is super cool. If you, I don't know if you guys have played the Dishonored video games.
I watched
Yeah.
the trailer, so
I've
I
played it.
know less
like
than when I started.
They're really neat. They're kind of Unreal Engine Bethesda style stealth maybe combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Stealth maybe combat inevitable kind of game.
not at all
They-
like
No. I mean, like when I'm playing, it's
Oh,
like,
well, yeah.
I've got a plan.
I'm
well,
sneaky.
never mind. I'm killing everyone.
So my wife and I have both played all the games at this point.
Nice.
okay.
And we both played through them, and it takes her 4 times as long to get through the game as it does me because I literally just run through and kill everybody, but I get the bad ending. Like, she went through one of the games, she didn't kill anybody the whole time.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of those really cool games where you get the option to do that, and I think they're trying to bring that to a more role-playing game environment. Here on Tabletop, you can do it, so that's pretty cool.
Well, it's just such a rich setting.
It's awesome. It's got that whole Arcana whale punk kind of thing going on. Stuff is powered by whale oil. There's this weird, maybe demonic god guy that can give you powers, and like.
I only played a little bit of the first game, but like by far my favorite thing to do is you got this artifact, I think called like the beating heart.
Yeah.
It's called. So you
And
so-
it leads you
yeah.
towards these things that give you even more.
Well, so it was just like you'd have your weapon and your offhand. You could just equip the heart, and then you could just squeeze it while looking at somebody, and then you would hear like the deepest fears and thoughts of whoever you were looking at.
It's a really cool
And
system.
so they did
yeah.
a really interesting way of like, if you want to waste your time listening to what NPCs are thinking, you can. And you learn more about
Alternatively,
the
instead
world.
of the heart, you could equip the pistol and just shoot the guy in the face.
I would never finish this game. I would just do that the whole
You're
time.
just
What
gonna
are you
stare.
thinking? Are you thinking anything else?
feel
Let's
like-
go deeper.
let's,
like
like,
2
that- that
hours
seems
later.
Yes.
Wait, so you want to bring therapy to all the NPCs in Dishonored?
They're not there.
DLC
Technology's
therapy.
not quite there yet, but so close.
I feel like that would be a game, though. Welcome to the game where you are the therapist
therapist for the protagonist of all the
For
FPS games.
all the games.
So how did it feel when you killed a whole bunch of people again?
All right, everybody, back on track, back on track. This is going to be
Yeah.
a 300-page hardback book with full-color illustrations. It's going to come with 2 custom 20-sided dice because they are using the 2D20 system, although what they're apparently doing is using a more streamlined narrative version of that system. So I don't know what that looks like, but I like the sound of it.
I'm very intrigued by it because, like, I love Blades in the Dark, and Blades in the Dark is very much the indie kind of take on that aesthetic. You know, I think that Dustfall was very inspired, I think, in a lot of ways by Dunwall in this game. So it'll be really interesting to see how much setting materials here versus rules or whatever else. And it sounds like if they're going cinematic, this is going to be a lot of like richly detailed stuff.
Yeah, it's a 300-page book, and it's only going to be $39.99. I mean, that'll get you into the whole game, and that's everything you need. That's how role-playing games should be released.
Well, the other thing that it occurs to me is that they did the Fallout RPG.
Yes.
They did the Star Trek RPG.
Yeah.
I think, didn't they have another video game license that they picked up for an RPG?
Yeah. Oh God, but I don't remember what it was.
They had a few.
They had quite a few.
Does anybody else
We're always
remember-
talking about them picking up IPs. And
Yeah,
making-
we
Game
do.
of Thrones
Yes.
and
We already said
Yeah,
Fallout.
I don't recall.
yeah, me either.
But I think it was another video game.
Borderlands?
Maybe.
Borderlands?
No, we kept thinking we wanted somebody to do Borderlands.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, I just want to shoot somebody in
But
a
does
game and have
anybody-
guns fly out everywhere when they die. That
does
just sounds so
anybody
cool.
Remember Big Eyes Small Mouth?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember all of the setting, the anime books? I think mainly that came out. You know, you would almost buy the Big Eyes Small Mouth book because at the time there wasn't really Wikipedia. So it was the same reason we used to buy GURPS books, because it was like the whole thing condensed for gamers, basically.
Right.
It was a good reference book for the show.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
just
very
for,
curious
like,
what
the-
Modivius is going to keep doing in this regard. It seems like video game industry in general is more and more interested in tabletop and RPG specifically.
Yes.
But how many can Modivius put out at the same time? I'm curious about.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
it
also
depends on how
just-
cookie cutter they're being with it.
I'm also
Yeah.
very excited about the concept of playing a role-playing game where you can actually not kill anything. Like, I'm pretty sure pretty much every game I've played, like, you have to kill stuff. Like, you just say, well, this is a thing. I
There's-
can kill
Undertale.
You know,
it.
there's so many RPGs out there that actually have a mechanic that allows you to get through the game without killing anybody. It's just usually way harder to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like,
then
You
it's
can do
not-
it in Fallout 3. You can do it in New Vegas.
Well, I mean, for a tabletop role-playing game.
Oh.
So we
specifically.
need to sit down and play Ryutama.
Yeah, I played Ryutama. We still killed stuff. I mean, like demons in the forest. Or
I've been
whatever.
playing that game by Cascade Designs, Whirlpunk, on stream for a few weeks now, and I don't think we've killed anybody yet.
Oh.
Like that's just not what the game's about.
I like that.
It's
I
like you're
mean,
taking care of a town, and yeah, maybe like I think we had to fight some giant bees once.
Okay.
But
Okay.
only because we got attacked by giant bees.
Fair.
All right.
It happens.
So how
But
much?
like no killing people.
Oh, that's cool. But okay, what did you say the price point of this game, by the way?
$39.99. It's
Oh, that's pretty good.
yes,
yeah.
no, so it's like it's a good way to step into any game. You know, $40 is about what you should be spending to get into games.
So if you like Dishonored, keep an eye on it.
And if you don't like Dishonored, that's also fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Don't worry
buy a
about
different
it.
game. Turns out they have lots.
On a different note, for people who love Lord of the Rings, but specifically Journey to Middle-earth, is now getting one of its first large expansions.
Big old deluxe expansion.
Yeah, big old deluxe expansion to this.
Boom.
Boom. It's a lovingly named Jim is a co-op board game. If you guys
I
haven't
might have
played
just
it
invented
before.
that.
Journeys in Middle-earth.
Journeys in Middle-earth. But it is a Lord of the Rings themed board game where you basically help Frodo get the ring to Mordor. Yes, Mordor.
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 There you go.
Go. Sorry. Mordor. And
Mordorf is the same movie, except everybody is walking on their knees with shoes.
But yes, so the whole object of the game is that you encounter random encounters, and you try to not get as much shadow points as possible, and just get him there so he can cut off his finger.
Yeah.
Hashtag spoiler. Sorry.
What?
Sorry. But yes, so this will be a 1 to 5 player game. And it has a bunch of new, new lore or new scenarios, new characters, new weapons that you can go ahead and enjoy. It's before their expansion packs were like $7 to about $7 extra adventure.
Well, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, and then a $15 figure pack. But this one is a Biggins, and it will be about $90.
I feel like Biggins is the name of a hobbit.
Biggins.
Biggins. Well, that's what you're getting. You're getting Biggins.
Yeah, you're getting a $90 hobbit.
Biggins is like the 4-foot tall hobbit, right?
Yep. Well, so this is a very expensive expansion, but it does sound like it comes with a whole campaign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brand new characters.
Yep.
Yep.
And the thing about Journeys in Middle-earth, the game, is it's a big game. It's a complex game. I was going to play it, and my friends said, you have to watch the video, you have to learn about it, because there's a lot of different stuff going on. So the kinds of people who have gotten into this game have probably played it a lot after a little bit of barrier to entry, played it a lot, and ready to have just a fresh new take on what is a very well-respected game.
But yeah, that's something to look forward to. I guess chat's mad because there's no dwarves.
No, I think they were making fun of you saying more dwarf by saying more dwarf.
Oh, more dwarves. Yes.
No, there must be dwarves.
I don't think they're mad.
No.
They love it.
They love
I think
it all.
they, like us, also thought it was kind of adorable.
It was adorable.
So where do dwarves live? Under the ground? Maybe unearth?
Oh, okay. I see what you're trying to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Segways. Best at segways.
Yes.
All right, I accept your segue.
100% best at segue.
That was,
I accept your segue.
Except you.
yeah, okay.
Save me.
I'm trying, and I thought silence might do it for a second, but no, that didn't work out. So Unearthed, you wanted to talk about the new D&D Unearthed Arcana subclasses, right?
Yes.
They just came out. They're I mean, first of all, Unearthed Arcana has been so good about like just pumping out new stuff to try out for your campaigns and making it easy for DMs to like allow these things to happen instead of throwing up walls and keeping you from trying stuff out. I love it. I like that they do it. I know it's not your favorite thing in the world.
I like more options.
You like more options, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you have complaints.
Look, would I be me without complaints?
No, you wouldn't.
Look, Derek is a gamer.
But-
This is what we do.
So
That's why you keep me around.
several new subclasses for some of your favorite classes in Dungeons & Dragons. They have a new Path of the Beast Barbarian. You can probably think that you know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking of a Beastmaster, right?
Werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they already have a Beastmaster. No, this is if you want to be the beast. You want to grow some claws and some fangs and a tail that is useless but looks really cool. Maybe you get to breathe underwater or walk on ceilings. If you ever play past level 10, which you don't,
Right.
you can curse targets with a fury that you can give people rabies, basically, magic rabies.
Magic rabies.
This is a fun
Maybes?
Maybe?
maybes.
Okay. All right.
Rampant maybes.
Maybe you just always question life.
So that's a barbarian subclass that's coming to be available. The Way of Mercy Monk.
My favorite part of the Barbarian, real quick, is you can make all your party members mad.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Everyone
else can. I want the
Give them all
reckless attack.
maybes.
It seems so much fun, right? Just like, okay, now you're all mad.
Rawr, yeah, it's kind of almost a bardic ability in that way.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat. The Way of the Mercy Monk subclass. Basically, they're monks that had basically just learned how to suck the life force out of people, but also preserve the dead. It's kind of a weird one, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Worth checking out. The Oath of Watchers Paladin, a specific paladin that is there to guard the earth from aberrations. Probably the closest thing to a professional avenger.
Ah, yeah.
Like, I guard this world from things
Starting
beyond.
from, what was the 3rd edition and 4th edition, I think, when the Psionic stuff was introduced,
Yeah.
they added a bunch of orders that were specifically about like guarding against aberrations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because psionics lean so heavily into aberrations already.
The order of they had like yellow gems or something like that as their symbol. I can't.
And I don't remember what they're called either. I'm so sorry.
Nice drawing blank. Chat, if you could help
definitely
us,
citrines.
that would
Yeah.
be awesome. I feel like I'm going to go
Gotta
ahead
go
and
clean out the
contest
citrine.
that.
Yeah,
And
No,
it's not an
citrine
Avengers.
is a type of gem.
No, but I mean, like, they're there to guard the earth, like the Avengers guard
Well,
the.
I was going to say Ghostbusters. They're
Sure.
Paladin Ghostbusters.
Right, except not ghosts.
And also
No
not
ghosts.
mercenary and sarcastic.
But they could be.
They could be.
They could be.
Kind of like that, but also different.
But also, I think everyone was most excited about
Oh, the coolest one of all?
Yes,
You mean
yes.
the Noble Genie Warlock, a new pact that will allow you to bond with a benevolent genie. Giving you some brand new spells that Warlocks don't normally get, which is kind of cool. It's giving you a lot more enchantment options. I think that's just neat, you know?
But hold on, you said benevolent genie? So
Well-
the warlock can choose a patron who's good?
Hey,
Come
well,
on.
I'm
Come on.
a celestial warlock. Okay, celestial doesn't necessarily mean good, but there's options.
You complaining about already
Celestial.
published material now?
Yeah,
That's
basically.
fine. That's fine. You can do that.
But you were
But
excited about
most importantly, you can tether unsuspecting creatures to you as part of the genie menagerie.
Yeah.
So we've talked about Jeff before, Jeffrey Magdalene, my favorite, my owlbear that we had to leave behind because it was too dangerous. But if I could tether her to me, so Eric, if you're watching this, if you let me spec into Noble Genie for some of these abilities, you can have pets.
So does the tether prevent the creature from killing you?
Unspecified.
Because
It doesn't say
Yeah.
here.
That's just a
Specified.
murder leash.
Ah,
It would have to, right? Why would you tether something to you that's going to kill you?
You know,
Because you made a
Because-
poor life decision.
in the right circumstances, though, all leashes are murder leashes.
yeah, because you can improvise weapon and strangle somebody.
That's not where we were going with that. It is not where we were going.
I thought that's what.
No, we were going with putting the leash on a creature that is dangerous and should not be taken home as a pet, Nelly. You don't get to keep possums and raccoons as pets.
But they're so
because then they
But
will
you
attack
can
you.
strangle
So
somebody.
cute.
You can, yes. The animal probably won't.
So there they all are. The Path of the Beast Barbarian, the Way of Mercy Monk, the Oath of Watchers Paladin, and of course the Noble Genie Warlock. Check them out on Unearthed Arcana and get permission before making your characters.
Yes.
Or just do it and surprise.
I like that we're using this platform to beg our significant others and game masters for things that we want.
We
Yeah.
want
Or
these
warn them
things.
against it.
Or warn them against it.
Or all the warnings. Yes, speaking about no warnings from anywhere, from a villainous source, Emma. There's that villains afoot.
So, a new standalone game in the Disney Villainous line is Perfectly Wretched. So, we talked about Villainous a few times before on the show. It's a super fun, asymmetrical game where you start with your villain deck and you have abilities, you play your cards, and they're all themed around Disney villains, which, of course, are very popular, much loved despite their villainous nature.
Yes.
If you go on Instagram and follow the Disney Villains account, there's a lot of people. People are into villains, it turns out.
Bad guys usually have better style.
Yeah.
It's true. It is
More interesting,
absolutely
more depth to their
funner.
characters.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe taught me
Honestly,
Yeah.
Jafar's pretty baller.
Yeah, Jafar's awesome.
that. I regret to inform you, it is Jafar. It's a joke. Don't worry about it. There's the whole thing.
The
The whole thing.
Thank you.
Just look it up. It's cool.
Sure.
So the new villains that will be available in Perfectly Wretched are Mother Gothel, Pete, the old style, which is really cool because if you look at the graphic design, it's all in black and white because it's the old Steamboat Willie Pete.
Oh, yeah, I know,
Yeah,
Pete.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they've brought that through into the graphic design of the game. And the most... So villains are cool and great, but this villain in particular is probably one of the most problematic, at least to me.
Oh, okay, yes.
Cruella.
Cruella.
Right. So, I mean, the whole thing about Villainous game is that you're trying to win as the villains of the story, and the fate cards, you're playing the heroes of the story against you, but
Would
I
it
mean-
surprise you that she was always one of my favorites?
Oh, boo.
because if you win as Cruella de Vil, you murder a bunch of puppies and make a coat out of
Yeah.
them.
That's why she's the best villain.
What?
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 We're all horrible.
No,
You
no,
puppy
like,
murderers.
look.
You puppy murderers.
No. We are not puppy murderers.
Puppy murderers.
You see, your problem is you think villains are good. They're bad. And she
They
is
are- they are-
she
they are
is the
called villains.
worst. Like, that's the best villain, the one that is willing to do the worst thing. That's why Hong Kong bad guys in those movies are so much scarier than bad guys in our movies. Because they're willing to do the really, really horrific stuff.
Ah, yes.
It's scary. It makes them more threatening. It raises the stakes. It's a good dramatic device. Cruella de Vil is the best villain.
Worst is the best. So.
Worst is the best.
New cards,
Up
what's
is
cool
down.
about the Villainous is this is a standalone, so you can just get this if you want to get into Villainous, but you can also combine it with all of the previous games. Tons of awesome villains, including Maleficent, who is my favorite, who I think is the coolest villain.
Who never killed anybody.
there
Oh.
yet. I don't know. She's working on it. Anyway,
She worked at it over 100 years.
So she's an
failed.
aspirational villain.
Yes.
So she's like still in the intern phase.
She's,
Right.
yeah. She's the mini villain.
Ursula is just misunderstood. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's true. The game is going to be available in multiple retail outlets. Target actually has a limited Target exclusive edition that's going to have a removable Dalmatian spotted sleeve, so it gets worse, right? So
Just give her the
there.
coat.
Just
Give her the coat.
And a spotted Cruella figure. So this is a game I can definitely recommend. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out yet, this is a great opportunity. If you get it at Target, you get some special stuff.
Awesome. So things to look forward to.
Yeah, oh, and that's releasing March 1st, 2020.
March 1st.
Yep.
Nice. So in a couple months.
Yeah.
Essentially. Nice. I think, what is it? The last bit of news that we have today has to deal with comic books and 5th edition. Christian.
That was literally your best segue of the day. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was great.
There you go.
That was very good. DC Comics is going to be making, and then distributing a D&D 5th edition source book for their very recent comic book, The Last God. It's a relatively new series that has come out, set in a dark fantasy world where horrible monsters and creatures and magic. It pretty much just fits D&D really well.
Yeah.
With a little grimmer and grittier setting for those of you Dark Sun enthusiasts. I have not read the comics, so I cannot recommend it, but DC's been putting out a lot of good stuff lately. They focus on their writing. Absolutely check it out.
The promo art certainly seemed nice.
Yeah, the promo art looks
promo art.
beautiful, but it does give that feeling of, that definite grimness, sword and sorcery kind of almost Conan-esque feel.
Yeah.
With just slightly better technology. This is going to have, of course, new classes and races and monsters and spells, everything you're going to need to basically put your D&D game in the world of The Last God is available to you. This is not, of course, DC's first foray into making role-playing game supplements or anything else role-playing game related. It's not always been terribly successful for them,
Right.
but
Yes.
the DC Universe role-playing game is still a mainstay, basically because it's mutants and masterminds with a
Yes.
different skin on it, which makes it a fine game into and of itself.
Yeah.
They've been doing this kind of thing for years, so it's
Is this
definitely
their
worth checking out.
first connection with Dungeons and Dragons?
I think it might be.
It might
Yeah.
be.
Well, so
I think it might
that's
be.
the interesting question to me is that this announcement didn't come from Wizards.
Right.
No.
And it doesn't seem like this is an official in partnership with Wizards product.
No.
Oh.
So this might be kind of the largest company that has released a thing that is compatible with D&D that isn't officially a D&D product. Because I think usually the larger companies try to play it really safe and don't take the kind of OGL tactic that a lot of other companies take.
Yeah.
So I think that is kind of an interesting element. So I'm really curious to see how this is received. With the Wendy's stuff that we had last year, I
Yeah.
kind of have a feeling like that probably inspired them to take this step.
Yeah.
But Wendy's made their own system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right,
it'll be.
It was
interesting-
only a few pages long. I mean, and this is going to be a full source book that's supposed to be compatible with D&D.
But it's only $5.
Yeah, that's my
so
other
it's
question
like,
too. Is I don't think we've gotten clarification on exactly how long it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see if this it's a weird statement to make. Will this hold up to the standard that was set by the Wendy's supplement?
Oh.
You get what, like,
Yeah.
we
have
live
Wendy's
in a
standards
surreal
now.
world.
And with that, I quit the show.
Will this be Wendy's standard? of
Will this
game?
stand up to Wendy's RPG? Oh,
But yeah, it
This
just
is the world we're living in.
it's cool.
yeah. It's the
You
end
know.
times. It's fine.
It's fine. Well, I mean, I
The
really,
rain stopped.
yeah.
Because the rest of the world has been washed away.
We are an
Twins.
island.
I mean, that would be pretty cool. Like that. You ever see
If the rest of
those?
the world was washed away, no.
No,
Oh,
no,
and
no, no, no,
consumers,
yeah.
please keep in mind this product is 17 plus, so not for kids.
Oh, not for kids.
And you know what that means? Lots
Totally
of blood.
for kids.
Oh, I was gonna go just
Probably boobies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
these things.
It's America.
Those are hands.
But how does that work in a tabletop role-playing game? It's like, and then they bled everywhere.
And
there
there
was
were
a lot
boobs.
of blood. And
I think probably
boobs.
because of the art
The art.
that they're
Oh,
using.
yeah, that's fair.
The
that's fair.
art.
There
I
are
think-
pictures in this book.
For those-
Their art style does seem to be very graphic in the comic,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the few panels that I have seen.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh.
So there you go.
Yes, that
DC
was
Comics making a D&D book.
awesome.
It's happening. Mostly because they're not selling comic books anymore.
Oh.
Well, who is?
Who is? All the
Well, the
indies.
digital is
Digital
booming.
comics.
Diamond, Alliance, and what was the other one?
GTS.
And then all of this. I read a lot of web comics. You know.
Oh, web comics.
Web comics.
What you sound that? You
Oh, I say that because DC doesn't sell those.
No.
No, they don't sell. Nobody really sells
Yeah, I
web
was about to
comics.
say,
You
nobody
just
sells
look at
web
them on the
comics.
internet for
I
free.
did-
Well, no, the
You can
digital
Patreon
comics for the like through distribute like still full size comics, like not web comics specifically, but there's
Yeah, but like also like there's been some very like to continue our tangent down the road of comics.
Yeah.
Like there's been some very interesting commentary that basically Marvel Comics. Like I think in some ways the comic industry is just kind of where they test some ideas that maybe they'll adapt into a movie down the road and make the money off of it that way.
I think they're one of the more masterful tellers of long form storytelling.
Yeah.
They do it better than almost any other format.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. But you guys know what's happening now? Bum-bum-bum-bum-bum-bundles with Christian.
Second best.
Ah.
We're the
first
singing
episode's
really
so
brought
good.
it up. I'm not gonna lie. So the bundle of holding has got a bunch of classic hits this week. There's a long list.
It's very long.
So we're just gonna go through this
Look at-
really fast.
Look at all this.
Honor and Intrigue, basic action games inspired by both Hollywood and history. It's a game of alternate history, 17th century Europe, and adapts Barbarians of Lemuria rules, which I have heard of but not played, to model cinematic gameplay. There's several styles and blah, blah, blah. It's good times. Be a good guy, face overwhelming odds, and beat them through your adventuring.
Yes.
The Gray Ranks, which is it's by Jason Morningstar. Very
Yeah.
early game that he did about Warsaw. That's pretty cool. 1944 uprising.
I think this is the game that brought a lot of wider attention to him. I don't know if it's the first one that he published. I don't
Okay.
think so, but it was definitely one of his prominent ones that I think
That was
made people-
earlier in his now illustrious and prolific career. So there you go. That's in there. Let's see. We got In Dark Alleys, which is a modern day supernatural RPG. About cosmological horror. Which,
Sounds like my bag.
yeah, it does. Cosmological horror. I knew you were just gonna love it.
I was thinking like, the horrors of the makeup industry.
As well as Witch, the Load,
horror.
as well as Witch, the Road to Lindisfarne. I hope I said that right. A one-shot storytelling game of medieval church captors delivering a young woman to her fate.
Sounds gross.
Fun.
Yeah, sounds
like
super
my
gross.
bag.
Another fine mess. Basically, you are you are a cute wizard's familiar looking for your master.
Oh, hey, guess what? Will you have the minis for that soon, eventually?
The
Yeah.
cats and catacombs.
Yeah, assuming that your familiar is a cat and not some other adorable creature.
Have you met Emma?
I have.
Okay.
Could be an owl bear.
There's so many great creatures.
So that's what you get on just the basic level, right?
Yes.
Then you move up to the $20 level. You get Torchbearer, which is a great old dungeon crawl game, like one of the greatest, has inspired several video games, including Darkest Dungeon. Hollow Point, a one-shot action movie type game where I love that it's called. It says a one-shot, actually many-shot, tales of ultra-violent agents doing bad things to bad people for bad reasons.
Ooh.
Man, it's basically Masters of the Metaverse. That's kind of cool. I'm digging it. And then the one that I've been like moving down the list just so I can get to, Flying Pilgrims.
Pilgrims of the Flying Temple.
Pilgrims of the Flying Temple.
Do the pilgrims fly or does the temple fly?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
the Pilgrims fly.
Okay.
The Pilgrims fly.
The Pilgrims fly. It's a high-flying slapstick fantasy about young travelers with good intentions who can also fly.
So they're like the Mormons, but superpowered?
Sure.
I mean, if that's the way you want to think about it.
No, it's more like Avatar,
Yep.
The Last Airbender.
Yep. Yeah, so it was inspired by Avatar, where you basically play young adventurers who like travel the world. Yeah, like that's what I brought
that's
some
what
show
you-
and tell.
Yeah, I'd love
Yeah.
that. Let's take a look at some of that.
So like you play the game, you will as a pilgrim, you'll get delivered a letter. And the letter will tell you like, hey, pilgrims, I'm in my village and my village has problems. Can you come help us?
Can we see that letter?
I think it's too tiny.
They've got the wide shot going. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Way to be on top of it, guys.
yeah, they'll cut to it in a little bit. So Pilgrims of the Flying Temple, you get a little letter, and the letter will have these like goal words, right? So then you draw anytime you want to try to do something, you draw stones from a bag, and depending on kind of whether you're already in trouble or not and what stones you drew, you will get to kind of write the story. And you end up kind of creating an artifact where you've written how you've solved the problem of this village. And if you have managed to write all of the goal words and not be in trouble, then hooray, happy ending.
Finally, a
great.
game that forces me to write letters.
But if you don't do all the goal words, or if you're still in trouble and stuff like that, then you don't solve everything. Then some things are left unresolved, or maybe you didn't fix the problem. But it's just this really adorable kind of thing. Like the Kickstarter way back when, had all these letters that you could get that you could just hand to players and be like, hey, this letter just showed up, go solve the problem.
Wow, that's nice.
So you just kind of, it's one of those games that I love because you create the artifact at the end.
And I'm the adventurer that'd be like, yeah, I'll read it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. And it was kind of, I think, Happy Birthday Robot, which also strikes me as something you would like. This is like the initial idea of this, and it kind of grew into a
That's so
more
cute.
involved thing.
Happy
But
birthday.
it's definitely all about getting like younger kids to kind of put together a story.
Yeah.
And then I think this is more like the younger teen kind of version.
The YA version. I love it.
The young adults.
Oh, what's so cool about a lot of these is the fact this is Daniel Solis, Jason Morningstar, a lot of the Evil Hat. These were companies.
Yeah, that's the next one I was going to mention is Swashbucklers of the Seven Skies, which is by Evil Hat, and I like everything they put out. I don't know why, I really do.
Usually because it's good.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Everything put out is good. That totally makes it worth it for me. So that would be worth checking out. I have no idea what it's about. It's about sky-ships, and they're flying out in the sky and doing pirate stuff and spy stuff, but in the sky.
Sky
So, and it says the word swashbuckling.
I mean,
like, who doesn't love swashbuckling?
Who doesn't want to buckle a
vocal
swash?
swash.
Whoa, buckles all the
I don't. You see, I think buckling swashes requires fancy sword fighting, so I'm totally into it.
And feathers and poofy shirts.
Yeah.
I think those are just accoutrement. It's really about fancy sword fighting and swinging on chandeliers.
Flufflers.
The fancy clothes are just an extra bonus.
Yeah, and just from a
And
historical.
the reason that I always audition when Three Musketeers comes to town.
From a historical perspective, to be able to look at these games and see where a lot of your favorite games and a lot of your favorite designers got their start, it's really cool games and cool to see the origin stories.
Well,
of some of
I
these
also
people.
just love some of these bundles taking a chance to bring games that had really cool elements to them back so that a new group of people can get a chance to be exposed to it.
Yeah. Now, the thing that I like best about this bundle is that it supports an organization that is actually worthwhile. I think that's important. We don't get enough of these in the bundles, so
Yes.
it's actually a good organization. It's it's the Minds Advisory Group. It's a group that goes out all across the world and finds and removes and destroys landmines and IEDs and cluster munitions and unexploded bombs that have been, obviously
Around.
that have been around in areas of conflict.
Yes.
Do they use the rats for that? I swear, I met somebody in the airport once who
You just throw rats on the bomb?
I'm getting thumbs up here. It's a new, because they had used dogs, right? But they found out that the rats were actually better at removing mines
You
than the
train,
dogs
you
were
train
for
the rats to find the mines. I
Yes.
think, is
Yeah.
Because they're
And they-
tinier.
yeah.
So
And they
Less
don't
likely to
they don't
set them
necessarily set them off when they walk over them. We lose more dogs that way.
Well, aren't there also rats that smell malaria or something too out?
Probably.
They're training
Sure.
rats,
I
right?
think
The
all
dogs
rats
that smell cancer.
That's why it's the year of the rat, because they're so great.
They're so great.
Is it that way? I don't think
don't worry
that's
about
why
it.
it's the
Yes,
year of the rat.
it's the
I
year of the
think-
rat specifically because rats are great.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think it's just the year of the rat because time continued to pass.
No.
What? No.
No, man. We're always living right now. Remember
Now.
that.
There is no past.
Live
no
in the
future.
present.
So yes, this supports a fantastic charity. So please check out the bundle. I think it's absolutely worth getting. There's a ton of really unique and interesting and good games in here. So
Absolutely.
pick it up and
Give to a good cause.
save little kids from stepping on landmines.
Yeah, that's actually, you know what? I like kids not stepping on landmines.
I love, or anybody.
Or anybody.
I like the way you phrase that. You're like, yeah, actually, okay, you've convinced me.
You
Remove the
convinced me.
landmines.
Maybe,
right.
maybe landmines and kids don't go
I
together.
mean, I'll reconsider my original position of pro landmines.
And watch, our first Kickstarter will be a game about landmines. It'll be great.
Yes, but
So-
that is our bundles. And now we have to introduce Kickstarter Queen.
That just moved into first place.
Why, hello, all of my loyal subjects.
We are not worthy.
You know,
for the
I like how
Kickstarter
we all bow
greatness.
down.
Bow down.
Yeah.
So we have a handful of Kickstarters this week.
Yes.
But the first one you were actually very excited about
Yes, I am.
because you
So,
brought Show and Tell too.
I brought Show and Tell.
Show
as
us and
well.
tell us.
You guys, have you ever heard of Mothership?
Yeah.
It's not aliens, but kind of like aliens.
But
But
Aliens.
it's totally not aliens.
It's totally not aliens. But look they have very nice flow charts. If you ever
Well,
wanted
that is a very nice flowchart.
It's a very nice flow chart. If you ever wanted to play a game that like basically says, "Hey, you don't know how to play this? Here, just follow the lines."
I like that.
Follow
I actually
the
really
lines.
appreciate that. Ooh.
See? Yeah,
vehicle
And it has a very, very
diversification.
early Shadowrun-esque tree on it
Tree.
that scares me.
And it's also very simple rules. It's a D10 system, as you can. Well, you can't
Percentile.
really see, but Mothership itself, the game has won many awards in the past for its game design and everything. And if you were into sci-fi horror, not with aliens or with
Xenomorphs.
creatures that go a lot in space.
We can just say Xenomorph ripoffs, right?
Yeah. Well, do they have copyright on xenomorphs?
Yes.
Ah.
That's what the term ripoff is for.
Oh yes. But yes, it's pretty much that game. It's a new setting called Blood Floats in Space. It has 2 days left. Here's the kicker. There's not really much detail about what new classes and new rules for psychic characters and new campaigns are. This is mostly a passion project for people who really want
Psychic
this-
powers in their Mothership game.
well, not just that, but also like a really nice rule book. You've been seeing that we've coming out with designer dice, specialty dice, and dice holders. This is for somebody who wants a very nice rule book.
Well,
Like, is it leather bound and
It's
all fancy?
It's got fancy paper, fancy ink, hand stitched binding.
Right, but so does my world history textbook. Like,
Your
what's
world
special?
history textbook is
I
hand-stitched.
think this is basically, do you want Mothership with 1960s inspired psychedelic artwork?
Yes.
There we go. That is the
There.
question. Yes,
1960s.
I do.
Well, there you go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
But so it's also, this is not from
this
Tuesday
is
Night
not.
Games.
Yeah,
so
this
this
is-
is like a third party group putting out their kind of, it feels a little bit like the kind of sci-fi space opera-y settings that we also got. in
What's the name of
60s.
Matthew Lillard's company? You know,
Beetle and Grimm.
Beetle
Yeah.
and Grimm.
Grimm.
So kind of like what they do, where they, like take a regular source book and they dress it all up, and it's super fancy, and you like it.
a little bit, but this is a different setting. And
I think it kind of taking that idea with a little bit of the indie zine aesthetic, because I
Yes.
think that's kind of inherent to a lot of what Mothership has done.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
yeah,
So
the
a
whole-
fancy zine.
a fancy. It's very
A
fancy.
fanzine.
A magazine?
A magazine. He wins. Dark side.
I mean, unless it's like the Fox News magazine, in which case it would be the magazine. Right?
Magazine.
Oh boy.
Oh, why?
And people say I
How
kill
did you
all
make
the
that
fun.
sound?
There.
It's really good.
So,
Yes.
Pure disappointment.
2 days left if you want to go ahead and look at it. And if you want to just look at the Kickstarter, they really heavily say what artists are going to be on this thing. So it is mostly just about the art quality of this book. So
Yep.
blood floats in space.
so Emma,
Yes.
tell us about Black Sonata, The Fair Youth.
Black Sonata, The Fair Youth is a title to a game that reveals very little about it if you don't know what it's about.
Sounds like shoujo anime?
Right?
It does, kind of.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you're right.
But it's actually a mystery Shakespearean London game. It's a solo game, so specifically about playing games by yourself, which is something we've talked about a lot recently, and it's a hidden movement game. So you're
Wait, why are they calling it Shakespeare's London? I mean, that was Victorian England, right?
no, Victorian was
I'm trying
later.
to emphasize
Elizabethan.
Shakespeare, too.
It's Elizabethan England.
Elizabethan.
Sorry.
Yeah.
people know Shakespeare more. They're like, Shakespeare, yeah, with the frilly neck thing and the
Tights.
We can't say Elizabethan? I mean, when we're doing a Shakespeare play, we call it
They
Elizabethan.
said Shakespeare. They're into Shakespeare.
I
Okay,
think
it's all about
I think
Shakespeare.
they're just using fewer words to emphasize that it is about Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Because the game is Shakespeare, and I guess Shakespeare's rival running around London are the kind of key components.
Oh, well, that makes a huge amount of sense.
Yeah. So, like, it's really intriguing to me that not only is another solo game, which we've been talking about how apparently popular those are, but it's also a hidden movement and deduction solo game.
Yeah, so you're trying to hide from yourself.
No, I don't think that's the case.
Or not. Maybe not.
I suspect
You're playing
it's
Clue with yourself.
Yeah, I suspect it's more that the game will randomize where the enemy is, where the enemy has moved, and you're trying to get those clues to deduce where it is.
Are you playing Memento? Well, the one where you take you take a picture and you got tattoos all over your body.
yourself. Yeah.
Yep, Shakespeare was very famous when he wrote that play.
Yeah, I think it was like his second to last one right before The Tempest.
The game is
the problem was he kept forgetting what he was writing. So
the game is a lot more fun if you have memory loss problems.
All the world is something.
So how about instead, Black Sonata? This is an expansion to the base game, and it seems to kind of emphasize a little bit more of some like a rival to Shakespeare. So if you
Dueling poets is used. I like that.
So if you've played the original, or you are like us, confused and perhaps curious about solo games and how you do a solo deduction game, I think it's worth checking out.
Yeah, and it is an expansion with the reprint, so you will have to get the base game that is being reprinted if you don't already have it.
Yeah, like I said, I was much more excited about this game when I was reading it on my phone earlier, and I thought it said Black Santa, and I was like, oh, that sounds awesome.
And this game has 2 days left, so check that out if you are interested in mystery and Shakespeare.
So with 3 days left, we have Pacific Rails, which is another train game on Kickstarter.
Woo!
Yep. Hey, we should support these more because we have our train friend who
you might have just heard
past our studio every so often and gives us a little toot toot.
I actually do like train game. Go now.
So it seems like Pacific Rails may have borrowed some mechanics from other board games. Like there seem to be some engine building and worker placement elements to it as well. So it doesn't look like it's just stocks and laying the rail, which is what a lot of the train games focus on.
So you're saying there's other train games, and they all do things that are kind of similar, like buying stocks.
Wait, this isn't the first train game ever?
Nope. There's a group called Train Gamers that have done more than play this game or wait in anticipation of this game's release.
There.
So if you're not familiar, train games are a pretty rich whole subgenre.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of train games.
I mean, it's right up there, or if not more prominent than just World War II war games. There's tons of them out there. There's their own subculture. Like there are plenty of gamers who are just like, I play train games. Like, that's my thing.
And there's the familiarity in that case is a good thing, right? Because you've played your favorite game, and then when you move on to another one, you do have some sense of exactly what's going on.
Trains have always been popular with hobbyists of almost any type.
Yes,
They can usually find a way to relate whatever their hobby is to trains.
Yeah.
It's
When
almost
you're-
kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It's like the
I wish I
people.
understood more.
Oh yeah, no. It's like train people are
They
like the
buy the
people who are
overalls
really.
and the little hat.
Oh,
I hate that.
it's a cool hat. But train people are kind of like like people who are really into purple. Like I'm more into orange, but people who are really into purple just fill their house with purple. Like, that's the thing.
Maybe they just watched a lot of Thomas the Tank Engine. It was George Carlin who got us into the trains.
Well, originally Ringo Starr, right?
Dun, dun,
Then
dun,
George
dun,
Carlin.
dun, dun, dun,
Really?
dun.
Then Alec Baldwin.
As the conductor?
Mr.
It's a
Conductor.
storied history of
Yeah.
Mr. Conductor.
But yes, how many days left?
I feel like train games predated Thomas.
A lot of great actors and George Carlin.
3 days left.
3
Fair.
days left. Called Pacific.
Before we go on to the next one, we did have in chat, they were asking about my Kickstarter that I am kind of helping to run a little bit. We're not talking about it this week because it still has about 19 days to go, but when it gets closer to the end of the campaign, then we'll probably give that a shout out.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you brought it up now.
Oh, well, they brought it up in chat.
Go ahead.
So my friend, John Ritter, is actually doing a Kickstarter for a game called Pineapple that is a...
What did you say his name was?
Jonathan Ritter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure I heard it right.
Is running a Kickstarter for a game called Pineapple. It's a truth or lie game with a twist, get to know your friends better, and one of the cool things is he is a part of Layways Games, who are known for their super cool metal components. So of course this game will have a metal component, which is a really
solid
cool
gold pineapple.
solid gold pineapple.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I was recently unlocked as a stretch goal as a designer.
You exist now?
I exist.
You
yes.
exist.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Finally, you've been unlocked.
But
Only as a Project Fox.
yeah, our friends who recently were on the show, Jen Ellis and Keith Baker, have not been unlocked. So you
Whoa.
should go.
Well, let's
and
go get them.
unlock
Let's go
They're
get them
still
unlocked.
in prison.
They
Still
are
in prison.
Yeah.
They
We
need
need
to
them out of
save
prison.
them.
They do great things.
You want more Eberron.
I want
Yes.
more. I want more
That's how
Eberron.
it works in the Kickstarter world.
Yeah,
Plus, they're so nice.
they are. They're
they're-
very
they're-
nice.
Excellent people. Yeah, so that's Pineapple. So that's another one you can check out on the Kickstarter's list.
All right.
Ooh, thank you.
Christian,
Yes.
4 days left.
4 days left.
Are
Divinity.
you super excited?
Look at me. I'm super excited. Divinity X Deluxe Hardcover Edition with 4 days left. What is it? Why, it's a super Powered by the Apocalypse game. I love the Powered by the Apocalypse engine, and what this does is it's making a whole, Earth 2020, the world is changing, humanity's evolving, everybody's getting superpower. What it's doing is it's taking this great system and it's just adding dice to it. Like, hey, let's take this cool system and let's turn it up to 11 and see what the sucker can do. It's a great game engine. I think it's going to support it wonderfully. Plus, it's about superheroes, and so I love it.
Yes, you can be super beautiful. That's
Yeah.
one of the things.
Super beauty is a power.
Yeah.
Super beauty.
Super
Clearly.
charismatic.
Yeah, you can be super anything.
Yeah.
You got superpowers. You can bend time if you want to. Why not? It's Powered by the Apocalypse allows for some really crazy narrative stuff to happen during the game.
Yeah.
A lot of superhero systems that are out there are by necessity very, very crunchy
Yes.
and then absurd. Like they get to this point where you get power creep isn't a thing because you start off with superpowers. And then it just goes up from there, and everything falls off the rails because you're rolling 1,000 dice, and you've got 150 strength out of 18. It gets stupid really fast.
But will this system that is streamlined and narrative be able to stop a bullet when you get shot? No, but Champions will.
That is true. That's a big game.
What if you have super bullet stopping?
Yeah.
As your ability.
Not going to stop a real bullet. As it turns out, these games are just pretend.
Yep. He does have a point.
Well, I mean, if the book is thick enough, if you get enough of them, you
That's
can
why
stuff them in
Champions
your
would have stopped the bullet.
Ah.
I understand.
I see now.
It's okay. It was a grenade joke, And just count and wait. I thought it was good.
Thank you.
So, of course, everything from enhancing your stats to, bending time and stuff.
I do like that
All
one of the because they have theme books, they're calling them, not play books.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you can maybe do a little more mix and matching.
You can do a lot more mix and matching from what it sounds like. It's like the standard playbooks, but you can take stuff from this one and put it all together to make your perfect hero.
I'm just amused that one of them is called the Psychopomp.
So, the names are pretty great.
Yeah.
The names are great. I suggest you look them up. They're fun.
How many days left again?
4 or 5?
4 days.
4 days. Awesome.
All right, Emma.
Emma.
You are very excited about Star Realms, and I think it's because let me check my notes. It is so shiny.
Shiny. You guys can't
so
see it. It's big.
shiny.
It's all caps.
Go to
in
the
this.
Kickstarter page and look at the GIFs. Because I looked at the pictures, I'm like, I can't really tell that they're all foil, but when you scroll down, you can see the GIF, and it is, I just stared at it for a
what
while.
you're saying that
'cause
the
it's very
images-
sparkly.
Foiled the presentation.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go.
That is exactly what I'm saying. So, Star Realms Deluxe Nova Collection. Star Realms, of course, is a game that's been out for a while. It's a White Wizard, right, for Star Realms, Hero Realms, deck builders.
It's been one of their big games for quite a while.
Yeah, and it's one of the core deck builders. I would say if you're getting into deck building or you're just starting to show people after
It's one of the few,
Dominion.
it's one of the few sci-fi deck builders.
Yeah, sci-fi deck builders. It's got the cycling of the cards. It has a little bit of a TCG element to it because you can acquire new ships and bases from the cards, turn face up. I guess they're just kind of calling it a TCG.
A
It's like
TCG
you're
element, even though you don't buy
collecting
booster packs or
things.
anything.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just reading
Nope.
what's in the notes.
Branding is
Fight,
weird sometimes.
fight, fight.
Branding is weird sometimes.
Yeah,
I
it
just-
feels collectible. But it's
It feels
space.
collectible. I
feel-
love that.
feel emotionally like I'm collecting things for my collection.
Just make
But
it
it's cool because you get the spaceships in your deck, and then you go through your deck, and your cards in your hand. You're playing more stuff, so super fun. And this is just a very deluxe edition of that. All of the cards are foil, so if you like shiny things, you will enjoy this.
Who doesn't like shiny things?
Right? Anyone?
like
Everybody.
Well, also, like if you're trapped in your house during the apocalypse and you need to send a message to somebody, you can use the foil cards to
Yeah.
like do some Morse
Or
code
use
at the
them
guy
as
across
a-
the street. I mean, it's got application.
Hold on a second.
Reflector.
Hold on. Bonsai.
What?
Is there a way to turn a foil card into a murder weapon? Because normally you are right on top of killing people. With
Haven't
Well,
you seen the
like
what's
paper
his
cuts?
name card? The,
Oh yeah, there's that guy who throws
give it.
cards.
I knew that in my brain.
How
No,
did
that
you
was-
guys? Come on,
that was
guys.
totally
Come on.
intentional.
No. There's an actual dude. I think there's
Oh,
an actual
Phil.
dude. No.
no.
He
Okay, not Phil.
he actually knows how to throw a card in such a way that he can like lodge it in a wall, like a wooden wall.
So not Gambit.
No, he's not. It's a real dude.
Gambit would
Okay.
explode. I mean, you do have a point.
So
Gambit would
Gambit,
explode.
yes,
Wait,
Gambit.
Gambit-
You understand that guy is a magician, right?
Gambit is not a real dude.
No, he's a power card thrower.
So,
So, 4 Star Realms, the deluxe edition,
Yes.
bringing it back on topic. In addition to all of the foil cards, there's score dials and custom game boards. So, if you love Star Realms, it's a great way to upgrade your collection. If you're not familiar with it, it's definitely worth just buying it. If you love deck builders, it's an awesome game.
Plus, it's the easiest thing to build.
Yeah, a
Like
deck.
stacks of cards.
Yeah.
Super easy. Way easier than like a house.
Also includes promo packs, a bunch of sets, Crisis. So if you have been getting into Star Realms, you just have the base game. There's a lot of other stuff out there that's sold in little packs. All of it's included in this, and it has 6 days left.
6 days left.
Man, if only they
Yes.
had games about trains.
Oh.
So this is a reminder. it's
What
like,
would
remember
that be
train
like?
game?
it would probably be like, I don't
But,
know,
you
all the
know-
train games we've talked about so far.
Yeah,
All the
there's lots and lots of them.
But you guys, I think that is the end
Aw.
of TableTakes today.
Sad.
But don't worry, guys, we still got a lot to offer here today. Let me go ahead and tell you, guys, stay here because today we're gonna have Zulus coming over with their at 12:30 for their new release rundown, and at 2 p.m. Guess what's happening? Did you guys know that there's this thing called Gen Con?
I am familiar with
Yes,
it.
this thing called Gen Con, and you can like get a discussion about getting badges.
You can go to Gen Con.
Yes, you can go to Gen Con, and basically 2 p.m. there's going to be a rundown about badges that
Badge
you can,
registration
badge
opens up this
registration.
Sunday.
Yes.
So at 2 p.m., Kristen and Boozer, who's the customer service manager, are going to come on the stream
Yes.
and walk everybody through that process.
Awesome. So
Here's
yes,
how to do it.
Here's how
Love
you
it.
do
So
it.
if you're a first-time Gen Conner, it's kind of almost required watching.
Yes.
Strongly encouraged.
Strongly encouraged. So that's on Sunday. And guess what? Some of us are going to be here as well on Sunday. You
Bright
guys
and
got
early.
it.
Right here.
But
Bright and
we'll
early.
never tell who.
We will not say who.
Early in the morning.
Early in the morning.
Derek told me the time. I did not believe it was a real time, but
And then we
apparently it is a
confirmed
time
it.
when people are awake
Yes.
and doing stuff like buying badges. So we'll
And
be
badging.
there.
Yeah,
playing
we'll be there.
games.
That's what time I usually leave to get here on time for TableTakes.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
That is true.
That is
Yeah.
true. Yes. But yes, my friends, this has been TableTakes here at Caldea Studios for Gen Con. Sorry, Caldea Studios. Don't worry, we're not just TableTakes here, friends. We're also, Monday, we have Brothers Mirth. Coming on, they play board games with chat and just like do board game demos. Wednesday, I'm gonna go ahead and have to tell you guys, Fireside with Emma and Peter have just been on a little bit of a hold right now until February. So February, come back if you want to have all those
But Emma,
Fireside.
do you want to talk about like why there's a little break and
Yeah,
what's
why
happening
is
in
there a
February?
break?
I do,
Yes.
real briefly. So, what is very exciting about the new season of Fireside is we're actually transitioning from talking about Magic the Gathering to Dungeons and Dragons. So starting in February, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be discussing the history of Dungeons and Dragons with Wizards of the Coast and delving into a lot of the creators and early people who were at Wizards of the Coast specifically working on Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm super excited. I'm not going to reveal the guests now, but I know who they are, and there's some very cool people who you'll be excited to see us interview.
Hulk Hogan.
We'll definitely talk about how Hulk Hogan was instrumental in
Dungeons and Dragons.
3rd edition D&D.
He was. Just because Rock and Wrestling came on right before the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. Everyone knows that.
But yes, behind the scenes, all the inside scoops.
Yeah, and specifically with Wizards of the Coast, because obviously Dungeons and Dragons existed before that.
Yes.
But with Peter Adkins, we're going to be mostly delving into what happened after it was acquired by Wizards.
Like to all the people who made it, because some of those are sad stories.
Oh,
Right.
Peter's going to pull on as many people as he can to talk through it.
yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool.
I'm
very
excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then after that, but what is on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. PST or Pacific Standard Time is Westgate Irregulars. So if you guys want to have a good just tabletop role-playing game just to watch,
And that's a group of authors in the Seattle area
Yes.
who are all getting together and playing an RPG together. So if you want to know what it's like when a bunch of writers get together to play an RPG,
Yes.
spoiler, it's kind of like what happens when anybody gets to play together to play an RPG. You can find out by watching them.
yes?
Fun.
Yes. And then, of course, Fridays, we have the awesome TableTakes with, of course, Emma, Derek, Christian, and that is all, folks. But don't worry.
Bonsai.
Oh, and also me. I'm also here. I also exist. This is true. I confirm that I exist.
We affirm.
Are we
that
going
you
for like a
exist too.
record-long outro today?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to do
So.
But yes, yep, Zulu's coming, new release rundown, 12:30. Stick around, come watch.